Hi, my name's Steve Sexton. I'm a 6th degree black belt in the Korean art of Hapkido. I've been involved in it now about 35 years, and it has played an awful large part of my life. I got involved in the martial arts at the age of 18 and owned and operated a school. Eventually sold the school to one of my students, who I still see today. In fact, I do all of my private lessons and seminars and things like that out of his location. And after I left the martial arts business, I got involved in the bar business. And oddly enough, I did a series of DVDs. And on the DVDs, they called me Steve Roadhouse Sexton because of the bar business. That was funny, but it was really pretty much like that too. Very rough place. And at the time I was pretty into trying to clean it up. But in between, I still kept my hand in the martial arts business and still taught privately, still do today. And even today I'm still involved in the bar business a little bit. How did I get involved in the martial arts business? This is funny because at the time, 18 years old, I was managing a car wash. And I remember the building across the way in the back, I saw this little Oriental guy carrying lumber in and out of the place. And on my lunch hour, I went over and asked him, "What are you putting together here?" And, introduced myself, and he told me he was opening a martial arts school. And I could see that he was struggling with the building process, and I offered to come after work and help him put things together. So I did. Took us a couple of days to build dressing rooms and a mat and an office and everything, but we got it together, and for my help he offered me a discount in lessons. So I started coming to his group classes at night, and I liked it. I didn't know anything about the martial arts, and it was nice. I liked it a lot, and so much so that on my lunch hour I started taking private lessons also. So I took private lessons in the afternoon, came back in the evening, and took group lessons. This went on for a long time. Ended up being his best student. And from that point on, he moved back east. I bought the school from him. And the rest is pretty much history as far as my teaching and the people that I've taught, thousands of people. And ended up selling the school myself to one of my students, who even today I use his facility to do my private teaching and seminars and such. My best memory in the martial arts is probably my black belt test. I remember the night before not being able to sleep, going through all the moves in my head over and over and over so as not to make any mistakes. Little did I realize at the time that your teacher already knows whether you're good enough to pass or not. This is just a show for the masters that are judging you and all the spectators. And but still, I was nervous, really nervous, and it stands out so much in my mind. And after passing, what a load, all that work, all those years of training to get to that point pays off when he tells you you've passed. And that was probably the highlight of my martial arts career. But only the beginning, because getting your 1st degree black belt, basically all it means is you've mastered the basics. So much more to learn. My advice to other martial artists is to work really, really, really hard at whatever system you're in. All systems are good. What sets apart the particular martial art that you are studying is the person behind it. If you're going to get out of this what you put into it. So train really hard, do really good, don't settle, be true to yourself, work hard. It isn't the system, it's the person behind the system. So you can end up being great or so-so, you can end up being exceptional. But what it's going to take is a lot of hard work. Anybody that's worth their salt in anything, let's say world-class gymnast, all of these people have to pay their dues. There's not a gymnast alive that hasn't fallen off the high bar and hurt himself, fallen off the high beam, balance beam, hurt themselves. There's probably not a master carpenter alive that hasn't hit his thumb with a hammer. Mistakes are okay. You learn by mistakes. But don't get frustrated. Don't get upset. Pick yourself up. Dust yourself off. Learn by the mistakes. Move on. Mistakes are actually a learning process. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Nobody's going to be perfect in this. And it's important that you have a good teacher. A lot of people are really good in the martial arts, but they don't make good teachers. You need somebody that can help explain, talk to you. That's really important. So if you're lucky enough to have a teacher like that can break things down, explain why does this work, and what if. I remember my teacher didn't like questions, just do what I say. And every time I'd ask a question, he'd get mad. And he'd end up hurting me over it because, I mean, not viciously, but okay, it doesn't work because of this. And I'd be like, you know. But now I knew why. So all I can say is be true to yourself. Work really, really hard. If you want to be exceptional at it, work really hard. What's in the future for me right now isn't going to change. As far as the martial arts go, I'm always going to be involved in it. It's been such a huge part of my life. I'll probably be teaching long after I'm not able to kick or punch, or if I'm in a walker. All of that stuff's irrelevant anyway. What I have to pass on is up here, not here. It's easier to be able to demonstrate, I have to admit that, but look at all the boxing trainers that are out there. You know, Lou Duva and Eddie Futch, and a lot of the old timers that have been around forever. These guys can't get out in the ring and actually box themselves, but they can sure teach the person and tell the person what they're doing wrong, what they need to do. So there's no boundaries as far as age goes. It just means you're slowing down a little, but I don't intend to anytime soon. But all I'm trying to pass along is that I'm probably always going to be involved in this, one way or another. Question is who is my role models in life? I don't really have any role models, but someone that I admire very much, always have since the 60s, was Muhammad Ali. Politics aside, whether you believe in what he did with the draft and how he was so hated back then for having a big mouth and doing what he did, you gotta hand it to this guy. He stood by what he believed. He lost 3.5 years, not to mention millions of dollars, of the best years of his life in boxing because he stood up for what he believed. Not to mention the fact that he basically revolutionized boxing. Today, if you think about it, you'll see a little bit of him in most boxers around today. Because back before he came along, everybody was kind of crouched, chin under the shoulder, stood in the middle of the ring and duked it out. Nobody stood straight up. Nobody fought going backwards. Nobody threw right-hand leads. He did everything wrong, according to traditional boxing at the time. So, if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be the kind of paydays that these boxers have today. He is solely responsible for that. And I just got to say, I admire him for basically revolutionized boxing, doing things the wrong way and still making it right, standing up for his beliefs, and being the man that he is today. He was a hell of a man, in my opinion. Still is. He's still sharp up here. Motor skills are gone because of the Parkinson's, but sharp, intelligent, admired very much. All right. In closing, I'd kind of like to say, martial arts training is based on your basics. Without good basics, fundamentals, that's what you build from, your basics. Your basics have to be strong. Martial arts has taken since I got involved in it, a huge turn from the days back when I was doing it. Full contact karate was in its infancy. Now we have the UFC and mixed martial arts, and it's taken a lot of turns. Not that any of that is bad, it's actually good. But that's even still pretty much in its infancy. Traditional values in martial arts are something that you should cherish and help. You need to build. They're building blocks. Don't ever lose those. Don't be a cocky person. Don't become good. If you've got a good teacher, he's going to teach you some humility, and all I'm trying to say is don't lose the fundamental values of martial arts. It's all good, but remember what I said earlier. It's the person behind it that makes it what it is. And if you're training hard, you're doing the right things, you're going to end up being great. God bless everybody, and I hope you have a great life and wish your martial arts career well.